Have you ever quietly wondered, why does intimacy still matter in your 60s, 70s, or even 80s? You've raised a family. You've done the hard things. Isn't that part of life supposed to fade like summer love or old songs on the radio? But what if that silence is costing you something deeper? What if letting go of physical closeness isn't harmless at all? What if it's quietly draining your strength, your sleep, your spark? Not all at once, but little by little until one day you wake up and barely recognize the person in the mirror. After 30 years of caring for older adults, I've seen one truth again and again. Intimacy isn't a bonus in your golden years. It's a lifeline. And today we're going to talk about why that connection still matters, not just for your heart, but for your muscle, your brain, your immune system, and most of all, for your sense of being truly alive. Before we begin, I'd love to know where you're watching from today. Type your city or state in the comments below. And if this message already touches something in you, hit that like button, share this with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more honest, gentle advice made just for you. Let's begin. Intimacy is heart medicine. You may not think of your heart when you think of intimacy. Most people picture medications, low-sodium diets, and exercise plans. But there's something quietly powerful, something often overlooked, that helps your heart just as much, if not more. It's closeness, physical connection. Yes, even at 65, even at 75, even in your 80s. You see, when two people share intimacy, whether it's sex, affectionate touch, or simply lying close, the body responds like it's taking a light healing walk. Blood flow increases gently. Arteries stay flexible. Blood pressure lowers. The heart doesn't have to work as hard. In fact, studies show that seniors who remain sexually active have fewer heart-related complications than those who don't. Not because of frequency or intensity, but because of consistency. Just like daily movement or a warm hug, that moment of physical connection sends a signal through the body that says, you're alive, you're safe, you're cared for. Think of it like skipping your heart medication or skipping your morning walk. Letting go of intimacy is no different. It means removing one of the most natural, effective ways to care for your heart without a single pill or machine. As we age, the heart becomes more sensitive to stress, loneliness, and inflammation. And intimacy is one of the body's oldest, most beautiful ways to calm those storms. It's not about performance. It's not about youth. It's about connection. Dr. Alan Monroe, a retired cardiologist from Ohio, once said something simple. I never forgot. Your heart doesn't just need pills. It needs touch. That truth sits with many of us, even if we don't say it out loud. When touch disappears, when holding hands becomes rare, when quiet closeness fades, the heart feels it. Maybe not immediately, but in time. You might notice more fatigue, a little more tension, that strange pressure in your chest that your doctor can't quite explain. So if you've been told that intimacy no longer matters, if someone made you feel like that part of life is over, I want you to hear this clearly. Your heart still needs it, and you're not too old to give or receive it. Sometimes healing doesn't come in a bottle. Sometimes it comes from a hand gently resting on yours, reminding your heart it still matters, still beats, still loves. Let's keep going. What if your joints and muscles were quietly responding to the same loss too? Strength, joints, and movement. Let me ask you something familiar. Have you ever stood up from a chair and felt your knees hesitate, your hips tighten, or your balance waver just a little? That slow stiffness after sitting too long. That moment when your body feels like it's forgotten how to move smoothly. That's not just age, it's the body quietly asking for more movement, more engagement, more touch. And here's what most people don't realize: sexual intimacy is a form of movement. A gentle, natural kind of movement that works muscles, encourages blood flow, and keeps joints from locking up over time. It's not just about pleasure, it's about preserving the rhythm of motion. When we're intimate, whether through sex closeness or even affectionate physical contact, we activate muscle groups across the hips, thighs, lower back, and core. These are the very muscles that help us stand, walk, climb stairs, or even catch ourselves when we lose balance. For seniors like Mr. Walter Simmons, a 72-year-old widower from Arizona, rediscovering intimacy became a turning point. He said, "I didn't realize how much my body missed moving like that. It wasn't exercise, it was connection. And I felt stronger afterward, not weaker." When intimacy disappears, it creates stillness, and stillness over time becomes weakness. Muscles lose tone, joints stiffen. Even the ability to get up off the couch without pushing on the armrest becomes a bigger challenge. But it doesn't have to be that way. Your body still craves movement, not just in the gym, but in the quiet moments of closeness. Even slow, tender intimacy encourages flexibility, strengthens stabilizing muscles, and improves balance over time. It may not feel like a workout, but your body knows the difference. So the next time you feel that tightness in your back after a long sit, or that slow, awkward push to rise from the recliner, ask yourself, have I been giving my body the kind of natural motion it truly needs? Because staying strong at this age isn't just about weights or steps, it's about keeping the body in motion in the most human connected way possible. Let's keep going, because what's happening in your muscles may also be happening quietly in your mind. Brain health and mental sharpness. When was the last time your brain felt truly alive? Not just alert, but energized, inspired, fully awake. It's easy to blame forgetfulness on aging. A name slips your mind. You walk into a room and forget why. You reread the same paragraph 3 times and it still doesn't stick. But here's what most people don't realize. Your brain isn't just aging, it may be starving for stimulation. And one of the most powerful, most natural sources of that stimulation is physical intimacy. You see, during sexual connection, whether that's intercourse, cuddling, or even affectionate touch, your brain releases an incredible cocktail of chemicals, dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins. These aren't just feel-good hormones. They are essential for mental clarity, mood stability, and memory retention. Think of your brain like a muscle. It needs movement, challenge, and nourishment to stay strong. Intimacy is one of the gentlest yet most effective workouts your brain can get. It lights up regions tied to memory, attention, and emotion. It reduces cortisol, the stress hormone that quietly damages neural connections over time. It improves blood flow to the brain, helping with clarity, focus, and even the ability to retain new information. When intimacy fades, so does this vital brain stimulation. The chemicals that once protected you from anxiety, depression, and mental fog simply stop flowing. And over time, your brain begins to slow, not because of inevitable decline, but because it's been left in the dark. Eleanor Jacobs, 76, from Vermont, shared something beautiful after reconnecting with her husband after years of distance. She said, "It was like someone opened a window in my mind. I felt lighter, sharper, more myself than I had in a long time." You don't need to solve puzzles all day or take memory supplements to care for your brain. Sometimes what your mind needs most is a moment of honest human connection, the warmth of touch, the safety of closeness, the joy of being seen, heard, and held. If you've been feeling foggy lately, if your mind has felt tired, quiet, or stuck, ask yourself, when was the last time you gave your brain something real to feel? Because staying sharp isn't just about avoiding decline. It's about choosing to keep your mind engaged through love, through touch, through presence. Now let's look at how this same connection holds your emotional well-being together, often more than you realize. Emotional intimacy and loneliness. Somewhere along the way, many couples stop touching. The conversations still happen about bills, the weather, the grandkids, but the closeness, the hand on your back, the warm goodnight kiss, the lingering glance that says, "I see you," that slowly disappears. And what's left behind is something far more hollow than silence. It's the feeling of becoming roommates with the person you once couldn't wait to hold. This isn't about passion or bedroom gymnastics. This is about something deeper, something that emotional intimacy alone can't replace. Because a relationship doesn't thrive on words alone. It needs presence, closeness, and touch. When physical intimacy fades, the emotional thread that connects two people begins to loosen. You may still share a home, a bed, a calendar, but you stop sharing your hearts. One of you stops reaching, the other stops hoping, and before you realize it, the space between you feels cold, like a light has gone out. That emotional distance doesn't just affect how you feel, it affects how you live. Studies have shown that older adults who lack intimacy in their relationships often experience higher blood pressure, weakened immune systems, and significantly increased rates of depression. Not because they're unloved, but because they feel unseen. Margaret and James, married 44 years, once described it like this: "We weren't fighting, we just weren't touching anymore. I missed being held without needing a reason." You see, the human body was never designed to age in isolation. Even in marriage, loneliness can sneak in not from being alone, but from no longer feeling wanted. And here's the hard truth: when physical connection disappears, it becomes harder to say, "I love you" in ways that matter. The small gestures, the shoulder squeeze, the shared laugh, the midnight handhold, those are what keep emotional intimacy alive in the years when life slows down. If this sounds familiar, please know it's not too late. A soft touch, an honest word, even the desire to reconnect, that's where it begins. Because emotional intimacy is not about age or ability, it's about effort. And no matter how long you've been together, your heart still wants to be held. Let's keep going. Because what happens at night under the surface can reveal even more about how much we need connection to feel whole. Sleep, relaxation, and nighttime calm. Have you ever lain in bed at 2 a.m., eyes wide open, your thoughts louder than the silence around you? You're not alone. For many older adults, sleep no longer comes easily. You might fall asleep fine, but then you wake up, and you stay awake. The body feels restless. The mind won't quiet down. Morning comes and you're exhausted before the day even begins. What if the missing piece isn't another pill or a new mattress, but something much simpler, something deeply human? Physical intimacy is one of nature's oldest sleep remedies. After sexual activity or even warm, affectionate touch, your body naturally releases a hormone called prolactin, which helps you feel drowsy and relaxed. At the same time, oxytocin, often called the cuddle hormone, is released, lowering stress and anxiety levels that often keep seniors awake at night. That moment of closeness signals to your body, you're safe, you can rest. But when that physical connection fades, so do those calming chemicals. And in their place come the tossing, the turning, the racing mind. It's not just age that disrupts sleep, it's the quiet absence of comfort, of closeness. Walter Grant, 79, from Kansas City, used to wake up every night around 3 a.m., his heart racing and his mind buzzing with worries. He tried teas, melatonin, even sleeping pills. None of it helped. It wasn't until he and his wife began reconnecting, not just talking, but holding each other again at night, that things started to change. He said, "I didn't even realize how much I missed being touched. But once we started, I slept deeper. I woke up lighter. It felt like a piece of me had come back." That's the quiet magic of intimacy. It doesn't just affect your days, it heals your nights. If you've been struggling with poor sleep, waking up tired, or feeling anxious as the sun goes down, ask yourself, when was the last time you ended the day with connection, not just routine? Because no supplement can replace what the human heart was built to crave: closeness, warmth, and peace. And sometimes the simplest touch can unlock the deepest rest. Let's continue, because what you believe about your body and yourself may be changing without you even realizing it. Confidence, self-worth, and body image. Aging has a quiet way of making us feel invisible. You might walk into a room and feel like no one really sees you anymore. not as the vibrant person you once were, but as someone older, slower, quieter. Even in your own home, even with people who love you, that feeling can creep in. It's not always loud. Sometimes it's just the way you stop looking in mirrors, the way you shrug off compliments, the way you start to fade into the background. But here's a truth many don't talk about. Physical intimacy is one of the most powerful ways to remember who you are. It says you're still here, still wanted, still beautiful. That sense of being touched, desired, chosen, it lights something up inside. Something age can't dim, but silence can. Evelyn Martinez, 68, from San Diego, shared that after menopause and a long quiet spell in her marriage, she began to feel less like a woman and more like furniture. It wasn't until she and her husband slowly reconnected through simple touches, longer hugs, and honest conversations that her confidence began to return. She said, "I caught myself smiling again, standing taller, picking outfits I actually liked, not just what was convenient. It changed how I carried myself." Because that's what happens when we feel seen. We straighten our shoulders, we meet our reflection with softness. We engage with the world not from hiding, but from presence. And the truth is, self-worth isn't just built in your mind. It's built in your body through the way you're held, touched, and reminded that you matter. Without intimacy, self-doubt grows like dust in the corners. You might stop expressing affection, not because you don't care, but because you've forgotten what it's like to feel wanted. But you are still worthy, still capable of connection, still allowed to feel attractive, radiant, and alive. And sometimes it only takes one hand reaching out to remind you. You haven't aged out of beauty. You've just been waiting for someone or yourself to reflect it back. Let's move forward now, because what lives under your skin also protects you from illness, fatigue, and the hidden dangers of disconnection. Immunity and internal health. Have you noticed yourself catching more colds than usual, feeling a little run down for no clear reason? Maybe you've chalked it up to age. But what if that's not the full story? What if your immune system isn't just tired? What if it's lonely? You see, our bodies have a remarkable way of protecting us, but they need support to do it well. And one of the most surprising sources of that support is intimacy. Regular physical intimacy, including sex and affectionate touch, has been linked to higher levels of immunoglobulin A, IgE, a key antibody that defends against colds, flus, and infections. It's like your body's personal frontline soldier, and it's activated not just by medicine or vitamins, but by connection. That moment of closeness doesn't just warm the heart. It triggers hormones that reduce inflammation, balance cellular health, and strengthen your defenses from the inside out. When intimacy fades, your body feels it. Slowly, quietly. You start getting sick more often. Recovery takes longer. And the doctors might say it's just part of aging. But for many, it's actually the result of disconnection. Take Harold Bennett, 74, from Tampa. After years of health complaints with no clear cause, his doctor suggested stress was to blame. But when Harold reconnected with his partner emotionally and physically, he noticed something shift. "I was still taking the same vitamins," he said, "but I felt stronger, more balanced, like my body stopped fighting alone." That's the power of touch. It reminds your body it's not in this alone, that it's still worth protecting, still worth healing. So if your immune system feels like it's lagging, before you reach for another supplement, ask yourself, when was the last time you truly felt connected? Sometimes the most powerful medicine isn't found in a bottle. It's found in the warmth of another human being. After 40 years of marriage, Carol and Thomas still shared everything: the house, the calendar, the grandkids' birthdays. But one night, sitting at opposite ends of the couch, Thomas looked over and said, "When did we stop?" Touching. It wasn't anger. It wasn't blame. It was a quiet question, one that echoed in Carol's heart. Because sometimes distance doesn't begin with silence. It begins when touch fades. We assume love will last forever because of history, because of all we've built. But the truth is, love needs tending, especially as we grow older. In the early years, love speaks in kisses and urgency. In the later years, love speaks in small gestures, a hand held at the doctor's office, a forehead kiss at bedtime, a gentle laugh during morning coffee. But when those moments vanish, even the strongest couples can begin to feel like strangers. Not because the love is gone, but because the intimacy that once spoke on its behalf has gone quiet. Here's something even deeper: your body remembers and forgets. Just like muscles weaken when unused, the body's ability to experience physical connection slowly fades when left untouched. For men, this might mean slower arousal or reduced function. For women, it can bring dryness, discomfort, or a loss of natural elasticity. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly, so gradually that by the time you notice, it already feels harder to start again. But even a small step changes everything. A hand resting on a shoulder, a hug held a little longer. Even gentle physical affection can awaken what time has only dimmed, not destroyed. Because the body doesn't stop caring, it only stops expecting. So what can you do today, right now, to rebuild that connection? First, talk. Openly, honestly, gently. Say what you miss, not just physically, but emotionally. What you long for, what you're afraid of. You'd be amazed how many couples are quietly waiting for the other to speak first. Second, start small. You don't have to jump back in. Begin with touch, holding hands on a walk, sitting close, even slow dancing in the kitchen. Let your body remember how to feel safe again. Third, if something hurts, talk to your doctor. There are gentle, natural solutions for everything from dryness to low libido to physical discomfort. This isn't about performance. It's about comfort and closeness. And if you're single, don't count yourself out. Self-connection is real. Self-discovery is healing. Intimacy isn't just something you share. It's something you nurture within. There's no expiration date on closeness, no age limit on desire, and no rule that says you have to spend the rest of your life missing what once made you feel alive. Because here's the truth: you haven't aged out of love. You've just forgotten how good it can feel to be touched with kindness, with affection, with intention. So today, reach for that moment, that hand, that memory. Rebuild, not because you have to, but because you still can. Let's keep going, because intimacy isn't a closing chapter. It's a quiet return to something that's always been yours. Aging doesn't mean fading, it means deepening. It means loving with more patience, connecting with more tenderness, and showing up more honestly than ever before. You are not invisible. You are not done. You are just beginning the most meaningful chapter of all, the one where you reclaim your presence, your worth, and your right to feel fully alive. So let me ask you from the heart, what spoke to you today? Was it a memory, a quiet truth, a feeling you thought was long gone? If even one part of this message made you feel seen, heard, or remembered, type yes in the comments, because your voice matters here. And if you think someone else needs this reminder too, someone you love, someone who's been drifting in silence, share this video with them. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe for more gentle, honest conversations made just for you. You deserve to feel whole. You deserve to be held. And your story is far from over.